Welcome to today's Explainer, everyone. If you've been itching to break into the world of artificial intelligence, but honestly felt a little overwhelmed by where to even start, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're taking a really fantastic foundational class from instructors Hamza and Najm and turning it into a step-by-step explainer. We're going to demystify Python for AI, get your environment set up, and actually write your very first lines of code.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. Python, the AI language. 2. Colab, hassle-free coding. 3. Writing your first code. 4. Variables and computer memory. And 5. Strings versus numbers. Let's get right into it.
Starting with part 1, Python, the AI language, and exactly why it rules the machine learning world.
You know, Python's rise has been absolutely meteoric. Just a decade ago, back in 2014, it was sitting quietly at 4th place. Fast forward to 2024, it has completely dominated, taking the undisputed #1 spot globally. But why, right? It didn't just get lucky. It basically comes down to 3 huge advantages. First off, it's incredibly easy to learn. It reads almost like plain English. Second, its massive popularity means there's this huge global community ready to support you. But the absolute biggest reason for us, it is literally the default language for machine learning and AI. If you want to build AI, Python is your native tongue.
Moving to part 2, Colab, hassle-free coding. This is all about bypassing the installation headache.
Seriously, forget about heavy downloads. Forget about worrying if your laptop is fast enough. You just search for Google Colab in your browser, click New Notebook, and sign in with your Google account. That's it. Google is essentially lending you a super powerful computer over the internet, and you're instantly ready to code right in your browser.
Our instructors actually shared a pretty hilarious analogy for the environment Google Colab uses, which is called a Jupyter Notebook. They said, think of standard Python like an unmarried bachelor. You're cooking your own Maggie, doing all the chores, working completely alone. But coding in a Jupyter Notebook, that's like married life. Your breakfast is served on the table, everything is neatly organized, and you get all these fantastic built-in perks that just make your coding life so much easier.
Okay, part 3, writing your first code. Let's say hello to the machine.
This right here, the simple print function, is your very first Python command. Its one and only job is to display whatever you put inside this round parentheses. You literally just type print, open the parentheses, add your text in quotes, and hit play. But hold on, let me test you for a second. What if we type this exact same thing, but we leave out those double quotes? What do you think the computer's going to do?
Boom! You're going to get a big, intimidating red error message. And honestly, that's a great lesson. Python has very strict grammatical rules, which we call syntax. When you want it to print simple text, that text absolutely has to be wrapped in quotation marks, otherwise Python just gets completely confused.
Tying back to our married life analogy, the real beauty of Jupyter Notebooks is those built-in perks. We can create a brand new block, or cell, right below our first piece of code. Type something totally different like hello cha-cha, and run them completely separately. You don't have to run your whole document at once. You can test your code piece by piece, which is a total lifesaver.
Moving right along to part 4, variables and computer memory. It's time to organize your digital kitchen.
I absolutely love this real-world analogy from Hamza and Najm. Just picture your kitchen. You would never leave your spices in random, unlabeled plastic bags where you can't find them, right? No, you put them in a jar and you slap a clear label on the outside. Well, in Python, the jar itself is the variable. The spice inside is your data or value. And that label you stick on the outside, that's the variable name.
So let's see what this actually looks like in code. We create our labels, use an equals sign to essentially open the jar, and then we put our spice, our value, on the right. Here, we're storing Hamza as our favorite celebrity, cricket as our favorite game, and biryani as our favorite food. Now, whenever we ask Python for our favorite food, it knows exactly where to look to hand us that biryani.
But what's actually happening behind the scenes inside your computer when you do this? Well, your computer's memory is basically this massive neighborhood of blank houses, and each house has a super complex numerical address, like 1001 or 1002. As humans, we just can't remember thousands of random numbers, so variables are simply the easy human-readable names we stick onto those memory addresses. When you call for favorite_game, Python looks at address 1002 and fetches cricket.
Now, to keep your code from breaking, you do have to follow the community rules for writing those labels. For starters, Python absolutely hates spaces in variable names. So convention says to always use lowercase letters and replace any spaces with underscores. If you follow this rule, you, and frankly any other developer looking at your work, will be able to read your code perfectly.
Finally, part 5, strings versus numbers. Let's understand data types.
First up, we have what programmers call a string. A string is just text. But to really remember how it works, I want you to imagine a tasbih, a string of prayer beads. If you don't tie a firm knot on both ends of that string, all your beads are going to slide right off. In Python, your quotation marks are those knots. If you want to store text, you have to knot it with quotes on both sides.
Which brings us to a golden rule. Strings absolutely must wear quotes. But numbers? Numbers are a completely different data type in Python, sometimes called integers. Because the computer already understands them mathematically, they stand perfectly fine entirely on their own. No quotes needed whatsoever. Okay, let's do a super quick test to see if you've got this. If I create a variable, and I store the number 999 inside quotation marks, how does Python read it? Is it a number, or is it something else? If you said string, you nailed it. Because we tied those quotation mark knots on the ends, Python immediately treats it as a text string. It does not view it as a mathematical number you can add or subtract. It just sees the text characters 9, 9, and 9. It is so crucial to know exactly what kind of spice you're putting into your jars. And there you have it. You have officially conquered the absolute foundations of Python. You know why it's the undisputed king of AI, how to use Google Colab without installing a single thing, how to print your very first words, and how to store your data using variables, strings, and numbers. The real question is, now that you have these incredibly powerful tools at your fingertips, what amazing AI project are you going to build next? Start experimenting, and we'll see you in the next explainer.